Hello everyone, this is Oluwaseun Amuda from the Training Institute, and today we'll be talking about how to create and modify config. So if a particular config has not been created in a particular region and you want to create, you use there's a particular code you use for creating it, and if you want to modify, it's still the same code. So just the same process. So that's what it does. So the question says, if check for check if config is enabled in a particular region. That is, enable config in the account when it is disabled. That is, if config has not been created or probably disabled in a particular region, it's asking you to enable it. And if config recorder is not on, probably that's when the config recorder has been offed. So you are told to turn it on for config to get configuration changes. So that's what they ask you to do here. And how do you go about it? AWS provide us with a particular solution, and while reading your taking a look at your Boto 3 documentation, it says you have to use put configuration recorder first, then you put delivery channel second, then next your start configuration recorder. Depending, these two, any of them can come first. So what does put configuration recorder does? I told you in the last video that you have to check the settings first to know the main points you need to know in a particular AWS service, so that you can know how to read the documentation. So you check for the recorder first. That's, you have to create a recorder first. That's the first thing. A recorder automates the enabling of config. So you create this command creates a new configuration recorder to record your selected resource configuration. So once you have created a recorder, you have to create a delivery channel. You have to create where you are going to store whatever service it has recorded, whatever activities it has recorded. So you have to create where to store it. So this one creates a delivery channel object to deliver configuration information to an Amazon S3 bucket and Amazon SNS topic. So that's what this delivery channel talks about. And once you are done with this, you have to start configuration recorder. That is, you start recording your selected resource configuration, which you can see in your AWS account. So that's how we are going to solve this problem. And so let's go to the AWS console and let's take a look at how we are going to solve it. So okay, so this is the AWS Lambda, because we are going to run this code. I already said in one of my videos that Lambda is used for backend operation as the backdoor of the operation. So, and use Elastic Beanstalk for front end, as is your website hosting and the rest anytime you want to run a code. But this one is used for inside operation. That's what Lambda does. So since this the config is an inside operation, so we are using Lambda for it. That's one of the reasons why we are using Lambda. So you have to take note of that. So you might be asked in any of your certification exam that what's Lambda used for? Use it for backend operation. Why? Elastic Beanstalk is used for website hosting. That's the front end operation. So that's just different. So let's create a function for modifying or creating config. So let's create a function and let's call it create config. And the runtime is Python 3.9. So execution row, so let's use an existing row. I already explained how to assume a row to this. So a row has already been assumed to this STS row. So check my previous videos to see more about this. So okay, so I already have a code writing here. So what does this code say actually? So let me interpret this code for you. So the first thing you have to do is you have to import Boto 3. That's the Python SDK. So you import it already. You import it right in here. Now this STS is for, we want to call STL, that's the security token service. So once we call it, then we can assume a row to it. So that's it. And this gets us the account ID. This particular code gets us the account ID. Then this is for the region we actually want to work with, the region, the service we want to work with, and what the credentials we want to get. So that's it. And this particular code is used to create configuration recorder. This particular one create that, as you can see, put configuration recorder. So this is it. And how do you know what you are going to write here? Now let's go to Boto 3. So let me teach you how to know what to write. Right in the let's search for config service. Okay, this config service and clients. So you click on clients. So what we actually want to do is want to put configuration recorder. So this is it. So what does it say? It says it creates a new configuration recorder to record the selected resource configuration. You can use this action to change the role, that's if you want to modify, or the recording group of an existing recorder, as you can see. So you can also use it to create, and you can also use it to modify. So that's why we are saying creating / modified. So this is the same code. Now to change the role, call the action on the existing configuration recorder and specify a role. That's all you need to do. Just run this code the same way it is. So what are the things you are expected to specify? Now you have to specify the name. So if you don't specify a name, AWS gives it a default name, which is a default name, and they call the name default. So you specify a role ARN and a recording group. So specify a recording group for that, and so you have to put a delivery channel too. So let me show you the delivery channel. So you have to put the delivery channel. Now create a delivery channel object to deliver configuration information to an Amazon S3 bucket and Amazon SNS topic. Before you can create a delivery channel, you must create a configuration recorder first. So you have to create configuration recorder first before you can create a delivery channel. So you can use this action to change the Amazon S3 bucket or an Amazon SNS topic of the existing delivery channel. So definitely, if the storing is you want to change the storage where it's storing, you want to put it to another storage, you can use this to change it. Just run this only. But if you want to create or you want to modify everything, so you run everything. So that's the way it works. So and start recorder too. So start recorder is used to start recording. So you see it here too. That start configuration recorder, and if you want to stop, you use this to stop. So that's just it. Let me show you. In the start recorder, all you just need is the string, that's the name, the recorder name, which is default, or whatever name you specify. Now let's go to our Lambda. So that specifies this, your role ARN. How do you get it? This you have to create this, and I'm sure you don't know how to go about this. You might actually create a default config service, then get the ARN for it, then you slot it in here. And how do you get a default ARN from an already created config? So let me show you how to do that. Role ARN, yeah. So let me show you how to do that. Okay, the code might not be extensive, but it's going to do what we want. So this particular code is going to get us the role ARN. As you can see, this particular code is going to get a role ARN. So let me deploy this located. Okay, this is not the region. We didn't specify region here, so this is not vagina. So let's check whether something is created. Okay, yeah, it's created. So let's reload. Let's reload and see if something has been created in not vagina. So actually, config takes a lot of time. It has high latency, so it's high latency based basically. It's going to load. Okay, so something has been created. So now how do you get the role ARN for this? If I test this now, let me test this. So it's going to get me the role ARN. As you can see, this is the role ARN. So I can actually copy this to create another one. So this has already been copied, so you have to use to create another one. And there are other ways you can get it too. So what's the name of our create config? So okay, so let's create it. So that's how you get the role ARN for this. But the role ARN for this is different from this, because this basically use it for STS. They used to give permission to STS. That's an assume role. But this is for just creating config. So you need to specify this. Then all supported, that means you are supporting all the services. So that's it. And this is simply means you want it to spam across one region. So it's going to record across various regions. So that's, if you put it through, it's going to record across various regions. So you start configuration recorder, just specify the name default. So that's the name. The name will specify a default. So you specify it. Then delivery channel. The delivery channel is also default. Is the name of this is different from this. So but basically, if you want to change it, you can change it from default. It's your choice. Now the bucket storage. So this is, you store it in this particular bucket. So and once we have done this, of course it's going to create, and we want to respond back to us that this social service has been enabled, and this is the account ID, this is the AWS service, and the status should be enabled. So let's test this. So let's deploy first. You have to change. Okay, so let's test this. Let's give it an event name. So we save. So let's save. Yeah. So let's test it now. Okay, so this is it says enabled. So which region? Let's take a look at the region. US is to 1. So in US is 1, that's not Virginia, and before it says recording is off, so definitely it should on the recorder now. So let's take a look at it. Okay, still loading. It's going to on the recorder now, and that's the way it works. As you can see, recording is on. So that's it. Now let's take a look at another region that's now assuming the recording is on the knobs. So if you run this code, is it going to respond back as is it going to return an error? So let's take a look at that. No, it won't. It will tell you, it will just like modify it again, and if it's still the same information, it's still going to do the same way. So let me run this again, so that you can see. Okay, it's loading. So this is CCS recording is on. So let's go back to let's go to a region that nothing has been created. So let's say CA Canada Central. So let's take a look at Canada Central. And let's check if config has been enabled in such a region as if a recorder has been created. Okay, it's loading. Okay, so no recorder has been created. So let's go back and create. Let's go back and create. So we have to change this to CA1. That's Central. That's Central. Canada. So depending on the region to specify. So let's deploy. So let's test this. As you can see, so definitely it gives us back, it gives us a response that it has been enabled. So let's go back and check Canada 1. So let's go back and check Canada 1. So okay, yeah, this is. So let's reload this page. Loading. Okay, as you can see, say view dashboard. So it has already created for us. So that's how it is. Work has been made simple with Lambda. So very simple, very simple. Let's take a look at settings. So everything has already been created. Excellent. So let's take a look at the settings. So okay, settings. Yeah. So it says recording is on. So that's how you create it. That's it. So can you see this bucket we specified? Yeah, this is it. So that's just the way it works. This is the role, the config role. So this is the role we specified for it. So if you actually want to edit, you can actually edit this. You can edit the buckets. Yeah. Okay, yeah, this is it. So include global resources. We put it to false. So you can enable it. As we put it to true, it's going to enable it. So that's the way it works. So that's everything you need to know. Now in my next video we'll be talking about how to delete this config. Assuming you no longer need config again, you want to delete it. So how are you going to go about it? So remember to subscribe so that you can receive notification whenever I upload a video. So thank you very much for watching.